I'm Dan Sperry, and I'm a stage magician. I'm going to be teaching you guys on a series of videos here how to do some card manipulation techniques, help you kind of graduate into a more formal stage magic genre and venue. Stage magic has been what's paid my bills for the majority of my magic career. It's mainly what I've done my whole life. I got into serious manipulation when I was about 12 years old. When I was in my early teens, I really looked up to guys like Cardini, Neil Foster, Shimada, Channing Pollock, Norm Nielsen, the old kind of godfathers of magic. And from there, I took inspiration and started teaching myself card manipulation techniques, how to produce cards, things like that. And I would every night sit in front of the TV and watch WWF wrestling and practice card manipulation into a big bowl that I would set on my lap. That way I could gather up the cards again, start all over. That was 3 hours of my life, at least 2 nights a week. And I was a loser. So, but it eventually paid off. It worked its way into my act, which is now, I'm blessed with the opportunity to travel all over the world with this manipulation act that I do. When I was about 15, I found out about a course called the Chavez course. It's a very old and very highly regarded and highly respected course in magic. It's what a lot of the old best of the best took when they were starting out in manipulation as well. I took Chavez, I went to Chavez, I learned serious structured manipulation. Again, that worked its way further into my act. I used to do manipulation with cards with gloves on, which has not been done in a long time. And from there, it just kind of kept building. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to teach you some of the basics on how to get into card manipulation. So have fun. All right, right now we're going to go over your materials, what you need to do card manipulation. Obviously, you need a deck of cards. But these are not the right kind of cards to use. These are okay if you have these lying around. I would preferably say to start out with an old deck that you're not going to mind getting all bent out of shape. Because I'll explain why in a minute. But these are okay cards. Using a bicycle deck is okay to start with. These are not the preferred backs of manipulation, unless you're doing it in the dark. So you're going to want to use manipulation cards, manipulators deck of cards. And those look something like this. As you can tell, they're flesh colored. And they're like that for a reason. So when they're hidden in your hand, nobody is supposed to see them. Now, granted, you know, when you are back palming a card, you're gonna see a little bit here and there. That's okay. This is stage magic. Don't freak out, okay? They can have a little bit peeking because from stage, when there's a distance, nobody's gonna notice it. You keep your hand moving, you keep yourself moving a little bit, nobody will see it. They actually make manipulators cards. They are actually thinner. They're about a third thinner than a regular deck of cards because regular cards are layered. And what the old guys used to do is actually take their cards before they made manipulator cards and separate them. If you guys have ever separated a card to make a gaff or something like that, you know what I mean. They come in layers, like an Oreo cookie, and they took out the middle and they put the cards back together and they glued them and then they bent them all up and everything and really worked them in like that. Look at that, isn't that nice? And that's how they got their manipulators cards until these were actually put out on the market. Now you're gonna wanna pick up a deck. They come 2 different ways. You can get a poker type back, poker type size, and you can also get a bridge size. Now, there really isn't a difference, it's just a personal preference. I need to use bridge size mainly because I'm actually a girl, and also my fingers are gangly long, like salad fingers. When I'm using some of these moves and techniques, my fingers get in the way a lot. So these thinner bridge size cards are going to be easier, they're easier on me. It's just a personal preference. That's something that you're going to want to figure out on your own. Another little benefit about these is they're actually more plastic coated. This is going to help you pop those suckers out and make it look magical. There's also pips in all four corners. This is important for if you're fanning, doing reverse fans, you get pips no matter what. If you've ever reverse fanned a regular deck of cards, they look all white. And then it's like, what's he holding? What is that? A bunch of whipped cream? I don't know. So you're gonna want cards. The last thing is very important too. You're going to want, let me see, fanning powder. That's right, fanning powder. So right there, fanning powder. This is poison. They didn't really sell this. This was hard to get for a while. It's poison. It's zinc stearate. It's poison. You don't want this in your lungs. Use this in a well-ventilated area or mom and dad's room. And what you're going to want to do is get your deck of cards, put them inside a paper lunch bag. Then take a couple squirts of the fanning powder into the bag, fold the bag up, and shake it up and down. That will help get the powder distributed on the cards. Take them out and gather them all up, square them up, give them a good smack. You know what I'm talking about. And give them a little fan, a riffle, stuff like that. You're gonna see the powder go everywhere. You're not gonna want it near Jason England's close-up pad. You're not gonna be wearing any dark clothes unless this is junk clothes, because it's gonna get all over you. Looks like you were eating a powdered donut or something like that. Then you'll notice that the cards are they're gonna fan a lot smoother. They're gonna feel a lot softer. That's what you want, is to be able to have the cards be nice and smooth for your fans. This will also help in your productions, things like that. There is another technique of using wax. Take a candle, go to Walmart, get the cheapest stick candle that you can, and lay down one card at a time and rub the wax on each side of the card. I don't recommend that. It takes too long. It's a pain in the butt, and the cards get dirtier a lot easier. When you do manipulation, the cards are gonna be falling somewhere, either into a receptacle or onto the floor. They're gonna get dirty. If there's wax on them, that causes stuff to stick to it, dirt and dust and junk like that stick to it. You're gonna notice little black spots getting all over the cards, and not good. So I recommend fanning powder, but it's really up to you. So that's just a little introduction to the materials that you're gonna want to get started. And you're gonna need 10 fingers if you're an amputee. I'm really sorry, but you're gonna find this more difficult. So that's your materials and what you need to get started. And with that said, let's go into start learning some techniques on how to do card manipulation. Tyrannosaurus. Real quick, before we start doing techniques, you might want to warm up your hands. It's hard to do manipulation with cold hands or a cold deck. One of the things the old timers used to tell me was take the cards and put them in a pocket near your heart. Your body heat keeps that way. Or keep them somewhere warm. It's hard to fan cold cards. You probably know this already. Exercise with your hands. Like I said, I got these icky fingers. What you're gonna want to do is hold at your arm, and just take your fingers and do that. Just jab them in there. That will stretch your fingers wider because you're gonna want to be able to strengthen your finger area to hold the cards back there. Another thing to do is get a pen or a stick, do this, put your pinky fingers together and try and rotate the pencil over like this without breaking your wrists or the pen. This is gonna help loosen and stretch your wrist muscles for when you practice and perform the manipulation. It's very easy to get caught up when you're practicing and performing these things to be just so impressed with yourself, especially if you look like me, that you're gonna wanna watch what you're doing. But you need to bring your hands forward. Imagine as if you have a sheet of glass or steel and you're pushing up against it. That way everybody will get the opportunity to see what you're actually doing. If you're producing cards and doing card stuff like this, nobody can see you. This is bad, but they'll probably think you're pretty good, even if you suck. So this way you want to turn and be able to break your wrist like that, not literally break it, come on guys, but actually put your hand palm forward so you can produce cards. So that's just a couple little easy exercises. Of course, there's always the finger stuff like this. Or I can't do this at all, but if you've ever seen this stuff, That's hard. Another one I used to do, I learned this when I played bass, but I think it's one of those it's on that DVD of what's his name doing, what's it called, is to do this and actually create like a wave. So you wanna go like, and I can't do it that good. No jewelry when you're doing manipulation. It gets in the way. But if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. I don't know. So that's some warm-up stuff. Let's warm up our hands and learn some card manipulation. So here we go. Okay, here's how to back palm one card. You gotta crawl before you can walk, you gotta walk before you can run. We're gonna start with one card. This is how it works. Basically what you're doing is you're taking the card and clipping it behind your hand, like that. So from the front, where'd it go? It's behind your hand. So in order to get into that position, you're gonna use your middle finger, ring finger, and index finger, using your thumb as the axis to rotate it from vertical to horizontal, move it into the clipped position, and just swing your hand behind. Beep. Now, this is where I was talking about, this is where it's gonna come in handy for it to be flesh colored, because you are gonna have some windows. Like I have really bad windows because I have like skella fingers. So the flesh color part comes in handy, and you wanna keep your hand moving just slightly. You don't wanna be like, ooh, where'd it go? Just have a nice fluid motion. And in order to reproduce, your thumb is going to catch this upper corner, your finger is gonna move out of the way, and boop, it's gonna pop out. This is the Cardini single production. This Cardini's way of producing a single card. Boom, like that. You don't wanna just go, oh, it's gone. You wanna add motion because you're throwing the card and it's disappearing. That's the idea behind this. So I usually do this to hide the rotation. I rotate down, because a lot of times you'll see magicians go like this and then make it disappear. Well, I think that basically telegraphs where it just went. So I like to rotate almost 180 and boom, gone, and reproduce. Cardini style. One little other tidbit is when you're down to one card, pull your index finger in and kick it out at your fingertips. That's kind of a cool little stylized way of producing. All you're doing is kind of crossing your index and middle finger. So once it's in back palm, you curl your fingers in. That's just basically as slow as I can do it. This is gonna come in handy for the next little sweet production that we're gonna do, which is the Roy Benson production called Strictly Underhanded. So this is what you're going for. And I'll show you Strictly Underhanded right now. All right, so here's the explanation of Strictly Underhanded by Roy Benson. It's in his book. I highly recommend checking that out. It's pretty cool. All you need to do is basically like we did before. You're in back palm, and you're just gonna produce at the fingertips. The left hand, or the hand that is facing the audience, covers basically all this motion. So you just put your hands together like you're saying, please God, let this work. And you rotate at the index finger and thumbs like as if they're glued together and hinged. So you go, nada, nothing. You rub and boom, kick that sucker out like that. From stage, you want to move around a little bit, again, to kind of hide the little secret of what you're doing. So nothing, nothing, and like that. There it is. Okay, first thing we're gonna do and talk about is the thumb fan. If you already know how to do the thumb fan, that's okay. We're gonna teach it to you again anyways. If you don't know how to do the thumb fan, I'm gonna teach it to you anyway. Get your deck of cards, and this is thumb fan. Probably seen it before, no big deal. It's important to learn how to do a thumb fan though, because it's gonna come back later on to get ya. Thumb fan basically works like this. I put the cards, the pack, right above my pinky finger, kind of right in line with my pinky. I'm right-handed, so I use my right thumb. Basically you take the nice meaty part of your thumb in the upper left-hand corner and try and get as even of a spread as possible. Like this. You're gonna use kind of your lower finger and your thumb as the axis point. Like that. Fun, fun, fun. From the front. Ooh, who's a magician? That's right, you are. Like that. Thumb fan's really easy to do. It's gonna come up now in the optical illusion of the shrinking deck is what it's called. So we're gonna show you how to do the shrinking deck right now. Okay, the shrinking deck, optical illusion. This is a nice little kind of filler in axe manipulation sequences. It gives the illusion that the deck gets smaller, hence shrinking deck. You take that cards, uses the thumb fan like we just talked about. Show the deck of cards, about yay big. If you give it a little squeeze, looks like it's getting smaller. Keep squeezing it. It looks like it's getting smaller, doesn't it? This is so cute. This is so fun. I love it. It's like Bob Ross painting. It gets about that big till it's gone. So small, you can't even see it. That's the shrinking deck. It's right here. Shh, don't tell anybody. Okay, here's the explanation of the shrinking deck. Like I said, it's an optical illusion. All you're doing is a little bit something over here, a little bit of something over here. When you do your first thumb fan, like I said, it has to do with the thumb fan, you're gonna wanna get this motion going with the deck so that you can spread as large of a thumb fan as you can. Let me show you what I mean. Come here. You get in position and you're gonna wanna push with the thumb like that, and you have to make that noise. You have to push and get as big of a fan as you can. Just get that fan out there, like that. You're gonna use your hand to create the illusion that is huge. And really all you're doing is you're putting your hand at an angle. If you were to really put your hand up to it, look at that, it's not fooling anybody. But from stage, that's what you gotta keep in mind with a lot of this. A lot of it is from stage. From stage, that's gonna look pretty good. And hold it out towards you, because if you keep doing this, it'll shrink on its own because of the, don't do that, that's stupid. So you do this, and when you come out, flat. When you come back, just do this. Let's do that. Is that an angle? Okay, so that's section one. You close it up, make it smaller now, and make a motion. Don't really squeeze the deck, I mean, unless you want. Make it look like you're squeezing it. Now you make your regular thumb fan. May not look like there's that much of a difference, but again, it comes down to the angle of how you put your hand and the motion of coming up to it. Now just let a little bit more peek out the top. Okay, close it up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Now you're making a little bit smaller fan. And from the front, it looks like they're gonna get smaller from stage. I mean, all it is you're still just doing a thumb fan, but you're not really pushing and making such a wide motion, radius, if you wanna get technical, I guess. Then you just kinda, a little bit like that. And you allow more of your four fingers up here to hide the faces of the cards. Optical illusion, optical illusion. See, and then you come back and it's like, oh, geez, wow, look, that is getting smaller. How in the, I don't know, maybe it's black art. Yep, and it's invisible thread. And same thing, you get a little bit more, a little bit smaller. So as you make this, squeeze and get smaller motion, you're pushing it farther and farther into the palm of your hand. So when you're down to like this much, from this distance, it doesn't look like anything, but from stage, it looks pretty good. So, and now you're like, whoa, big hand in your face. And it's gonna look like it's getting smaller. Now, How do you get out of this position? Well, two different ways. One would be to go into tenkai. Tenkai palm is like this. How you doing? You're basically gripping it back here, and you're using the meat of your hands. I don't have much, so my tenkai is lame. But you just, as you're shrinking, you grip, and from the front, you make your fanning motion, and you concentrate and have the misdirection on your left hand. And from there, you can go south with the tenkai deck. Go south, ditch it somewhere, wherever, whatever you feel is best. Or a lot of guys will, from this point, vanish the deck, squeeze it, getting smaller, 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 and reproduce it doing cards from the mouth, which is you've probably seen a lot of guys do where they look like they're just vomiting cards all over their hands. Where'd they go? Oh, it's in my mouth! Oh my God! Okay. And somehow, amazingly, they come out dry. I don't know how it works either. But so you shrink and it's gone, and this is the focus. And when you reproduce, you come up. This hand was gonna help you, help hide you loading this in your mouth. I'm not gonna really like cram it in there because I have to talk to you. But you go up and you basically just, ow, like you've just been on a desert island, and you see the first cheeseburger. So here, and you go, turn around. Oh, I just threw up cards all over the place. And that can be an out. That's what a lot of guys use. But it's a cool little sequence, cool little filler is the shrinking deck, because you don't always want to just be like, look how cool I am producing these cards. I'm gonna show you a different way and I'm still producing cards. You want a little something. You want like the ballad. You want the ballad. Everybody likes the ballad. You want something to have them bust their lighters and cell phones out to. This can be it. Shrinking deck, it's just a little filler. It's kind of cool. Hope you like it. Have fun and trick or treat. Okay, now we're gonna go over the one-handed fan into the continuous fan production with a packet vanish. This is a nice little kind of semi-ballad thing too, again, to kind of break up the manipulation routine or sequence. Again, rather than card, 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 this is a nice little kind of magical diddy-diddy-do to throw in there. If you can do a one-handed fan, you can pretty much do the continuous fan production. If you don't know how to do a one-handed fan, it looks like this. You kind of get your fingers going. You have your pinky and index finger on the outsides, your middle and ring finger on the top. You want something like this going. Your thumb is actually gonna go into the lower portion of the pack of cards. It's gonna rotate and you're gonna push that as far as you can go. Now, for stage, again, we're talking stage here, not the up close kind of stuff from stage. You really want to push that as far as you can get it, because As you do card manipulation, obviously you're not literally producing cards out of thin air. They're going to be falling onto the ground. You're going to be running out of cards. So you're going to want to really push those fans as large as you can. So it looks like you're, even if you have half of this amount, you really want it to look like from stage that you still have the full amount. So it's not like, wow, he's producing cards, but why is he producing less and less every time? I don't know. Maybe they're coming from behind his hand. I don't know. So you want to do a one-handed fan. And when you have the one-handed fan, you have these extra extremities back here. This is where the packet is going to go in the continuous fan production. The idea behind continuous fan production is that you're constantly reaching and producing more cards and adding them to your pack, like this. Now you're really just producing the same pack over and over again. This is a privilege, not a right. Because in theory, if you are actually producing more fans and more fans, shouldn't this pile of cards be getting larger? So don't screw around. Don't screw around with this one, okay? Just do it a couple times and you're done. That's it. Because it gets old and they'll probably catch on to how you're doing it. And like I said, why don't you now have a gazillion cards because you've just been doing this for the past 5 minutes. So how it works, again, one-handed fan, and what you're gonna be doing is placing this pack behind and taking this one away. And as you're doing that, you square these up into a semi-palm position. Now there is a risk of flashing here from the front with your windows. I have really bad windows, so as soon as this comes, as one goes, the other one goes. They go in opposite directions. Big motion covers the smaller motion, so immediately reach out and produce another fan. You don't want to wait around like this for too long. So after you do the switcheroo, immediately reach out and produce your fan again. Now, there are some of you that are gonna say, well, but it's the same two cards on the front. I don't understand. That must be the same deck. Well, it is. So a nice little tidbit is to kick out this card and stick it in here as you square up. This is also a convincing move, so that it actually looks like, oh, maybe he's intertwining the cards into here. So as you get one put in, that's while you're doing the dirty work back here. This also buys you some time to get yourself squared up and ready to collect and produce. And you can also use this as a nice little table to square up your packet. So continuous fan from the back, just like this. And don't do it in such close proximity. Like I said, you want to reach for your reproduced fan. And change it up a little bit. Have some fun, loosen up. Go up to your, it's on my knee. Wait, it's behind my glasses. I don't know. Just change it up so you're not going from the same focal point so the audience will know where you're going. Because like I said, you want to keep this one moving because there is a high risk of flashing with this. Now after you've done this for a little bit, the packet vanish. This is the packet vanish. All you're doing is it's basically the continuous fan, but it's a little bit more ballsy. What you're gonna do is you're just gonna kind of wave and come up. Some guys do it like this. Oh, nothing happened yet. And when you come up, as you're rotating, you're gonna come up and catch the deck behind. So you're doing this. You're grabbing as this hand is rotating over. So square, square, square. I'm tapping. A fan, personal preference, and then sell it. Milk this and sell it like you're really squeezing it into nothing. And you got to believe that there's really a packet of cards in your hand. Otherwise, the audience isn't going to believe. If you do, if you're going along and you just kind of go like this, well, what did you do? Shrinking deck all of a sudden again? What's this about? So you want to kind of keep a general hand position. And again, this is where the wrist breaking is important and comes in handy. Rather than just kind of turning it over like this, keep that sucker out there, like that. And then squeeze, 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 squeeze. Gone. Is gone. Little Copperfield reference there. Okay, so that's the first video of some basic card manipulation technique. When you guys are working on this, just really practice this a lot, guys. You're not gonna be able to get it right away. If you do, you are a liar. So practice this a lot in front of a mirror. Practice this with videotape. That's very important. Borrow a camera if you have to. Use your webcam. I know you guys are sitting on your computer right now. Might as well use it. And practice with a camera. Watch your angles when you do this. When you're practicing, don't watch yourself, because when you're in the formal manipulation act, routine, whatever you want to call it, you're not going to be watching yourself. You got to watch the audience, because eye connection is the best type of misdirection you can have, because they're going to wonder, why is he looking at us? I don't know. Is he out of his mind? Probably. Of course we are. We do magic. We're professional losers. So you're going to want to maintain eye contact with your audience. Don't watch what you're doing. This is going to come in handy when you're in front of the mirror, and especially when you're videotaping. Also keep it up front, like I said, up against a mirror. Pretend like you're pushing it up against a mirror or a wall or something like that. Don't be doing stuff back here, because your shoulders are gonna cut off half of your audience. Keep it up front and really practice this. This is stage magic. This is not close-up. This is not street magic. This is not parlor. This is not any of that. This is stage magic. For those of you guys who wanna really seriously pursue a new direction and kind of get out of the little close-up tricks and stuff, this is not something you take to school and show at the lunchroom table for show and tell or anything like that. Keep this for a very, like I said, more formal stand-up stage situation. This is a great way to start working on an act or things like that if you want to build into a more silent type routine like you see on YouTube and whatever else on TV. I just want to give a couple more credits again for the Strictly Underhanded. This was by Roy Benson. He's got a lot of very good creative stuff. He was a great stage magician, really one of the best. The continuous fan production with the kick out, like what I was talking about, where you kick it into the fan, that's actually by a Chavez guy named Andy Amix. He came up with that one, that little tidbit. If you guys want further resources and stuff, you should really look into the Benson book. That is a great book that you can check out. Otherwise, stick around here to Theory 11, because we're gonna have more videos coming out for you as they get a little bit further and further into more advanced back palming, split fans, where you're producing more fans of cards, and then we're gonna show you how to combine this into a routine that you can jam out to alone or in front of an audience if you got the balls. So keep practicing, always practice. Practice will never make you perfect, but it will make you better. Keep going that way. I appreciate you checking out the video. Come back and see us again. So until next time, this is Jason England's Close-Up Pad, and I'm Dan Sperry. Night, night.